So yay! It's our five-star diamond Zoom call, and I'm so excited about this call because I think each week we're getting a little bit deeper and a little bit deeper, and really, truly trying to find the needs of what you need within your business. So this call, not only I'm going to get kicked off or start right off because obviously I know Julia has so much great information for us. But Julia is a five-star diamond. She is she was in the theater business. She has so much excitement and power behind her message, so I can't wait to hear this. But without further ado, let's get this party started. So discovering your coach's needs and wants. And this is a topic that her and I have always talked about. So I love this. So glad you're bringing this to us. So go ahead, my dear.
Thank you. Yeah, I was really excited to do this because I kind of, like Brittany's like, what do you want to talk about? And I kind of threw it out there because it was a personal need of mine. I talk to Brittany sometimes about how I feel when I feel like I'm pushing goals on my coaches, and I hate feeling like that. And it's something that, like, obviously, like as a new coach in building a diamond, you work to overcome that feeling when you find challengers. And I feel like I got so good at figuring out what they needed and how to be present and how to be helpful in terms of looking for, like, recruiting people or finding new coaches or customers. And then it was something that wasn't like seeping into my day-to-day life as a coach, like in terms of like being a leader, because like I know a lot of you guys probably have all your elite points. I don't. I'm like right smack dab kind of in the middle. And so I keep feeling like, like I'm tracking out that it's okay, but I keep feeling that sort of desperation of like, I got to have these people hit these numbers because I need these points because it's for me. And we all know, like, we're advanced enough to know that it's not just about us. Like, even though we want things for us, like, we know that it benefits other people tremendously. And like the heart of our message is always that. But I found that my communication was off. And so I wanted these things for people that I knew they wanted, but I couldn't find a way to connect the way they needed. And so even just this week, I did a ton of studying on the color codes, and that's what I'm going to talk about today. And I made a little presentation. So let me make sure I can share my screen really fast. And I thought too, while we're at it, I made this whole presentation. So if anyone wants to trade a team call, I think this would be a fantastic, it's something I really want to infuse in my team. So can you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what I love when I started learning about the color codes, and I did just also, I posted a link for the color codes. If you haven't taken the test, take it. There's also a coupon code. It's Beachbody Coach, capital B, capital C, and you can actually get the full download. Like when you take the normal test, it gives you your main color, but when you have the code, it normally costs like $40, but it's free with the Beachbody Coach. You can get the whole spread of all the colors that you are and what percentage. And it's really interesting because some people might be really dominantly one color, some people might be half and half, or you might be split 4 ways. So just going into that, just think about if you already are a color, think about that. I'm like 40% yellow, which we'll talk about, and then like 30% red. So that might show through in what I do. I don't know, who knows? Okay, so what I loved about the color codes is, so a lot of like, Personality Plus and GEMS, they talk about as adults, like what is our behavior now? Like how do we act day to day? What's so cool about the color codes is you go back all the way, you take the test like you were a child. And so like intrinsically, what did you do and how did you act as a young person? And so it really looks at, instead of changing the behavior of day to day, it looks at the motivation behind it, which is all about what we do as coaches, is try to motivate, inspire people. And at this level of leadership, I really found that I needed to step up my game and not do a one-track thing for every person because it wasn't working. And same with your challengers. So this could be something you could infuse in your team. I really hope you do, and something I'm going to start doing even with my challengers so that I know if they're falling off. If I know they're a blue, how do I help motivate them, or a yellow or whatever. So that's what's really cool, is it really looks at under the core, how are we motivated? So I'm going to break each color down, and then I did a little slide of each color and then how you can best motivate them, and kind of put it in terms of like our coaching business, like what each color needs. So a red is motivated by power. Like that is their main motivation, is to be powerful. And their talents, they're natural things that come through our leadership and vision. So I'd say like a slogan or like the catchphrase of a red is get it done. So they're like, they just want to knock it out. They like to go from A to B, like finishing, going fast. They like to go fast. They like to just finish things and get them done and take it care of and like get it out of the way. So a blue is very different. A blue is motivated by intimacy. So they're someone whose their talents are quality. Like they like to take things slow. They like to do things right, and service. They have servant's heart. So blues make great coaches. And oh, just one side note. I think it's so easy to look at these colors. Just keep an open mind. Like you can be so successful and be any one of these colors. It doesn't necessarily determine your success. Like I think sometimes everyone looks at a red and goes, well, I wish I was a red coach because they're going to be the most like get it done coach. But, you know, something like when we'll talk about a white, you know, a white is based on like clarity, and they have a lot of tolerance, and they're like very inclusive, and that can make a really smart, great leader versus like a red who's just always out for themselves, not out for themselves, but kind of those motivations are different. So just keep an open mind in terms of, you know, don't wish you were a different color. Just kind of, there are ways to build up each color. So again, blue is motivated by intimacy. So their kind of catchphrase is like quality over quantity. They want to take things slow. They want to do it right. They might be that coach that like, you know, can push a little harder, but they're building to diamond very slowly because they want to get exactly the right coaches, and you kind of can be frustrated. But if you know that that's what they're doing, they're going for quality. Then a white is motivated by peace. They have clarity. They have a really good overview. They can look at a situation and really like not stress, and they can kind of look at the big picture, which, like I said, can make a great leader. They're very tolerant, and they're always motivated by peace. So sometimes you can't really tell what they're doing because they avoid confrontation. And then a yellow is motivated by fun. That's me. So a natural talent of a yellow is someone who's super enthusiastic and optimistic. They have a great attitude, and there's lots of pitfalls of a yellow. And as I learned, I was like, oh crap, that's me. Like they tend to be the life of the party, but they tend to sometimes hide their feelings, and they're a little more sensitive than you might think a yellow is. So that's kind of the overview of the colors. So let's dig into a red. So red is motivated by power. Again, they like to go from A to B. They're totally results driven. They like productivity. They like getting it done, finishing a task. They cast a really wide net of vision. So, and as I go through these colors, like jot down a couple of people on your team, whether it's you or people like for your family, your spouse or kids, write down a couple people that you think, okay, like totally stand out as red. Like I have this one coach, Sydney, who she hadn't even taken the test, but I'm like, oh, Sydney's totally red as I read through these things. So think through a couple people who you think are these colors, and it'll be fun to see, you know, what they turn out as. Reds make great leaders. They're super responsible. They're decisive. They like to make fast decisions. They're really proactive. So if you give them something to do, they're not going to stew on it and try to figure out the best way to do it. They're just going to start cranking and start figuring things out, and they're really assertive. So here are some of the limitations of a red. They can be selfish. They can be insensitive. They can be very argumentative because they think they're always right. They can be impatient because they always just want to start and get things done. And they can be feeling like they're always right. So here's how to motivate a red. And the text that I pulled is just from the Color Codes website, and they have some incredible resources there. So a red, they seek productivity and need to look good to others. Simply stated, reds want their own way. They like to be in the driver's seat and willing to pay the price to be in a leadership role. Reds value whatever gets them ahead in life, whether it be their careers, school endeavors, or personal life. What reds value, they get done. They are often workaholics. They will, however, resist doing anything that doesn't interest them. So on the Color Codes website, they actually have a bullet point list of about 10 things to like some do's and don'ts with all the colors. And I pulled the 4 that I just thought were really specific to our business. So the first one is, with a red personality, offer them leadership responsibilities. So make them an admin on your team page maybe. And if they're a challenger, ask them to post a couple times a day or a couple times during the challenge. Have them run a group, have them like just put them in a leadership position where they feel like they're a leader. Give them facts and figures. So reds are really good people to pull reports for. So like with a blue, and we'll talk about it a little bit, you don't want to like give them a bunch of numbers because it freaks them out, but reds are really driven and motivated by numbers. So if you pull a report and say, here's where your PV is and here's where your TV is and let's get these numbers and let's get you hitting Success Club because you're only 2 points away, they react actually really well to that and are really motivated by hitting numbers. Support and correct decisions. So when they make really good decisions, just make sure you're giving them a pat on the back and saying, hey, you did a great job. Thanks for stepping up. And also they're very open to being corrected. So if they're wrong, they want to know, just be concise with them and let them know. And they're very open to that. Be direct, brief, and specific. I think this is one of the key points for red is reds don't need, they just want whatever the message you have, they want it to the point. They don't need a big story or a metaphor. They just want to be told what to do. Give me specific, direct instructions and I'll move forward. So that's a red. Okay, blues. They're motivated. Their core motivation is intimacy. And I'm married to a blue, so this was fun to kind of read about all of these things because it rang so true. So they're givers. They're giving of their time, of their almost to a fault, where they're yes people. They always want to, they're so relationship focused. They really care about cultivating relationships over, like I said, like a blue, like, okay, so like a red, you could say, go out there and hit Success Club 10. And they would react really well to that. And a blue is more like, go out there and help 5 people. And they're going to just intrinsically, they're motivated by helping people. So that's going to be a better way to phrase something for a blue if you want to help them reach a goal. They have a lot of purpose. They're very direct about what they want to do and how they're going to do it. And they do it in a really quality-based way. So again, they like quality over quantity. They want to take things slow, learn them correctly, and do them right. They're service-based. So they make great coaches. They're super loyal. You can always count on them. They're very sincere and very thoughtful. They're very sensitive. So some limitations of a blue, they can be self-righteous. They can be overly sensitive. They can be perfectionists, and I know this because my husband is like that. I'm like, just get it done, because I'm like, the red in me comes out. I'm like, just get this thing done. He's like, but I want to do it right. So they can be perfectionists. They can be worry-prone. And they can have unrealistic expectations because just because they have this quality mind of I want to do things slowly in the right way doesn't mean sometimes they place that on other people who, you know, a red might want to figure it out and do it really fast. And so their expectations are sometimes skewed because of their quality. So how to motivate a blue. Blues need to be understood and appreciated. Everything they do is quality-based. They're loyal friends, employers, and employees. Whatever or whomever they commit to is their soul and soul focus. They love to serve and give of themselves freely in order to nurture others' lives. So again, I just pulled a few that really relate to our business. Take time to appreciate them and show sincerity. So they need to know that you care before you can ask them to hit a goal. And it's really interesting. As a yellow, I attract a lot of blues. I have a ton of blues on my team. And I really recognized that I was trying to give them goals. Like I appreciated them, but I wasn't communicating that to them. And so when you just take time, other than talking about your Beachbody business or goals, just taking time to tell them that you love them and that you appreciate them and that they're such an integral part of your team, they're going to really thrive off of that. And it has to be sincere. They can tell if you're doing it for your own gain. Help them feel secure and loved in the relationship. So blues need to feel safe and like taken care of. Promote their creative efforts and ambitions. I think this is a really fun thing in our business. Blues tend, a lot of teachers are blues. They have a lot of qualities that match up, but blues tend to be really creative because they're like a little, I don't want to say slower pace, but they're looking at the big picture in terms of quality. They tend to have a lot of really great ideas where some of us just keep going and we're cranking. We don't take the time to slow down enough. And so blues, because they do just kind of nurture and foster this like more of a relaxed pace, they tend to be really creative. So it's really great to use blues and say, hey, what ideas do you have? You know, what could we do better in the team? How could this training be improved? What could I do better for you? So they're super creative. And then with blues, take a very sensitive approach. They need to be loved. They need to feel nurtured and taken care of. And not, like I said, like we're a red, you could say, hey, go out, hit Success Club. Here's your points, get your numbers. A blue really needs to be people-based, and you have to be sensitive with them and their needs and really looking at the scope of things where they're at, because they just take a little longer to get there. Okay, so a white is motivated by peace. So they have a lot of clarity. They're someone who, they might tend to be personality-wise a little quieter, but they're looking at the big picture and they're seeing it all. They have a lot of tolerance for people. So that makes for a great leader if you can say, I can accept and love all these different kind of people. They tend to be very kind. They're really adaptable. They go with the flow. They're super patient. They're very diplomatic, gentle, and they're also even-tempered, which is a great characteristic to have as a leader. That's not me. Okay, limitations. They can be indecisive because they're looking at every angle and they're trying to be fair for everyone and they have a hard time making decisions. They're silently stubborn. They can avoid conflict because they don't want to deal with it. They're peacemakers. They don't want to get in the mix. They can be unexpressive and they can appear detached. So how to motivate a white. They seek independence and require kindness. They resist confrontation at all costs. To them, feeling good is more important than being good. They are typically quiet by nature and process things very deeply and objectively with great clarity. Of all the colors, whites are the best listeners. They respect people who are direct but recoil from perceived hostility or verbal battle. So, some ways to help a white in your team. Practice patience. So whites don't work well when they're confronted with goals that they're not ready to face yet. So just be kind and be patient with them and don't try to rush them, and really listen. Oh, that goes to the next one. Hear them out. Just as a white would do for you, they're really good listeners and they sort of not expect, but they have this standard of that they're good listeners and they would hope that other people would truly listen to them. So listen quietly and carefully. Try to not interrupt them or add anything to them. Just be there as a support system to really listen and hear them out because they'll process a lot of things by talking, but oftentimes they don't come to you to talk because they don't want any confrontation. So if you come to them, just zip it, let them talk, and hear them out. So with whites, they're a little tricky too because you're going to have to look for some nonverbal cues because they avoid confrontation. Sometimes they can kind of recoil and be really quiet. So you're going to have to just take an extra initiative to kind of look behind maybe what they're saying or what they're doing and really be aware of that. And then when you do discover something, something's wrong, or if you feel like there's a problem, be really open and direct with them. If they don't feel like they're being attacked, they're really open to constructive criticism because they're really good listeners and because they want to look at the big picture and they're very tolerant. But you have to do that in a very kind way. Share ideas with them. They're really great listeners. And so it might be, for your benefit, having coaches that are a white on your team, bounce ideas off of them because they're going to really listen and take it in and give you honest feedback. So that's a white. Okay, yellow. Woo! Okay, yellows are motivated by fun. They love living in the moment. They try to always be the life of the party. They're super enthusiastic, optimistic. They're charismatic, super spontaneous. They're sociable. They're the people who are going out and meeting people in the crowd that they don't know and talking to anyone. And if you're married to a yellow, you're like, why can't they just shut up? But we have to. We have to talk to every person. They're super playful and they're very accepting and inclusive of other people. So some of the limitations of a yellow, and you might find when you're thinking about some yellows on your team, they seem uncommitted. They're the people who are you sent out the challenge group enrollment. You're like, hey, it's been 5 days. You're like, hey, did you fill that out? And they're like, oh my God, no, I totally forgot. But did you see it? I got a new purse. They're just kind of scatterbrained and kind of all over the place. They can be disorganized. They're afraid to face facts. So they'd rather just kind of not know and pretend to be happy than really deal with something. They can be unfocused and super impulsive. Okay, so yellows. Yellows are inviting and embrace life as a party that they're hosting. They love playful interaction and can be extremely sociable. They are highly persuasive and seek instant gratification. That is a key to a yellow. They want instant gratification. They want success now. So you'll have to just make sure if you have some yellows on your team that you help teach them the long picture of what the business is. Yellows need to be adored and praised. While yellows are carefree, they are sensitive and highly alert to others' agendas to control them. So this is one thing that comes up for me a lot as a yellow. I feel it's why I don't want a boss. I'm I don't want anyone to tell me what to do. And it's the same with a meal plan. I don't want anyone to tell me what to eat. We don't putting getting put into a box. And so if you try to overly manipulate a yellow, they're really going to revolt, because we want to feel like it's our idea, and that it's only if it's fun will we want to do it. So, and yellows typically carry a good heart. They're usually pretty good-hearted. Okay, so with yellows, you're going to want to promote creativity and fun activities. So they're the people in your team page that you're going to want to say, hey, will you host, or like think of prizes for us to win for our challenge group, or think of fun ways you can infuse a party into our team. Like maybe once a week we have a team Zoom dance party, whatever it is. Yellows are going to have really fun, creative ideas, and they're going to take an active role in helping you get those things going. They need a lot of praise and appreciation, so tell them how much you love them and how fun they are. They love to be praised. Take a positive and upbeat approach. So I think something with a yellow, like if you've got, you know, if you're like, say you're a red and you're looking at numbers and saying like, look, these numbers aren't there. What you have to do with a yellow is flip it to the positive side. Like, hey, you know, you've come a long way. We've still got this way to go, but I know that you can do it. They're really motivated not by the downside, but by the upside. And if you can put an upswing to anything, they're going to be really like excited about that. And then remember that they're more sensitive than they appear. Okay, so these, and I just copied this from the website, and I don't need to read through them all, but it was a really cool, it basically had things to not do with each color, and that is on the color code website, but I thought that was just equally as important as the things to use to motivate them, is to also look at the things, you know, if you're talking to a blue, you know, like it says, don't expect them to bounce back quickly from a depression. So they need time to recover from that. So you can't be on them. So just little things, like little tips and tricks, I think that will really help as you know, going into talking to a certain color of coach. You know, here are the things to do and here are the things to totally avoid. And I thought this slide was really interesting because it has kind of complementary things. So like I'm a yellow and somehow I attract a ton of blues. I don't attract as many yellow. I have a few yellows on my team, but mostly blues. And then it kind of goes through each color. So red and blue, they call them non-complementary opposites. I'd love to learn a little bit more about that and the relationship between a red and blue, because they're saying that doesn't work as well. But I'd love to hear stories of what that is, or if you find you're like, I can never connect with this person, maybe you guys are opposites. And then the blue and white are complementary similarities, so they could work well together. Comfortable opposites are white and yellow, and then complementary similarities are yellow and red. So I thought that would be kind of an interesting thing. And when you get your color code report, especially if you get the big one, it tells you like, so I'm a yellow, so it says yellow versus like a yellow and yellow relationship. Here's what it's going to look like. Here's the best way to deal with it. Yellow and a red. Here's the best way to deal with it. And so it gives you your color versus each one and how to best utilize those scenarios. Okay, so what to do? I am, the red came out in me in making this slideshow because I'm like, okay, so I'm going to give them all this information. So what do we do? So the first thing to do is make sure that you download the test and start with you. Like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? And have your family and friends do it. I'm making all my friends do it, and it's so fascinating. I'm like, oh my God, I thought you were blue, but you're totally a white, or whatever it is, because it's just a fun kind of lingo to get going in your household. And you learn so much. Not only do we want to like learn how to motivate other people, but we want to learn about ourselves and grow ourselves. And so I think it's fascinating. If you haven't done it yet, go check it out. And then last week, I think I just posted the test in my team page and I tagged a bunch of coaches and I said, let's get, I want to get a lively discussion going here. Tell us, what color you are and if you connect to that and if you were surprised by that. And then figure out, like I said, I attract a lot of blues and I'm in yellow. I'm attracting my opposite for some reason, but do you attract a lot of you? Do you attract a lot of yourself, or do you attract something opposite? And then if you can add it into your new coach onboarding process, I think this is going to be, like, for me, one of those things that I want to take a lot of time to invest in, because I think the payoff is going to be so big that I want to get it in my onboarding process and know that right from the beginning so that I can even have that, keep track of what color they are. So as we go through one-on-one calls, or if I'm seeing something from them, having that reference to say, oh, they're a white and this is why they're struggling. Let me figure out what I can do to help them. And then this is going to be the most important piece for me, is before talking on the phone or getting on a mentorship call with someone, I'm going to remind myself of what color they are and kind of go over those do's and don'ts and the mindset and try to put myself in their shoes of what they need from me, so that I nurture and help their goals versus on based on what they need versus what I want from them. And I think that that's the key is I was really sick of feeling like I wasn't leading them right and that I was pushing them. And so I think when you do that and you have the heart for, okay, really looking, where are they coming from? How are they feeling? You can have a better understanding, and it's all about education in order to move forward with these. So I think that's it. Yep, that's it. That's it.
Woohoo!
Let me unshare that.
That was amazing.
Yay! Yay, yellow.
So
Who else is a yellow? I want to know. Anyone?
for keto amount.
Rachel's a yellow.
I am majority yellow, for sure. And I knew you were too.
I love it. So what questions do you have for Miss Julia? That was so great. Great presentation, girl.
Thanks. Google Slides changed my life. They're so easy.
Oh my gosh, right? Well, if nobody has questions, clearly you mastered training us on that.
Doubt it.
So while you guys are kind of thinking about your questions, I'm just going to I wanted to say real quick, because I know we have all done this test, and maybe it was like 5-10 years ago. I can remember doing it in high school or even middle school. And back then I was 100% yellow. Now I'm like 90% red and a little bit of yellow. So I promise you will change. And from here, I'm going to redo it as well, because I'm interested to see now, because I'm more introverted than I was extroverted years ago. So I want to challenge each of you to redo it from now where you are at in life, because I promise you will change as the years go by. But this is amazing, because especially you want to take this to your team, just like what Julia said. We talked about this so much. She was, really trying to motivate and inspire these coaches based on what really works for her, and it doesn't work the same for everybody. And so you feel like you're constantly just doing that big circle, that hamster wheel, and you're like, I'm not getting anywhere with this person, this coach. I don't know how to lead and guide them to success. This will help you. So I challenge you first and foremost to do it over again, obviously, and then have your team do it. Of course, I'm going to post it in our 5-Star Diamond group, and I want you guys to redo it and then post what color you are. It'll be kind of fun to see, because I know some of you coaches sometimes like I may come off too strong because I'm a red, and I know most of my coaches I work with are more whites or blues, and so I have to find a different way to really see where you are at with your goals. So I will obviously post that. But now with that said, in that long chatterbox that I just did, what questions do you have?
I don't have a question. This is Anna, but I have a comment. We used to do this with the GEMS test and use it as in the onboarding. What I found was really cool, so you could use the same thing for the color, was when you have your team take the test and you have note of what their color is, you put it in their contacts on your phone. So when you get a text message or a call from them, it shows the color. So you instantly go into whatever mode you need to go into. It really helps. And what's funny is that now my coaches that have seen my phone, like at Summit, they're like, oh, I see. I was a pro. Okay. So it really helps though. Yeah, it really helps.
Because with the text, you react so fast. You're just like answer it, and that's a great idea. I love that.
Yeah, that's cool.
What else? Anybody else have a comment?
I just have a comment. I really struggle. I'm a lot red and a little bit of yellow and have absolutely no white, which kind of stinks because maybe I have more white now, but as of a year ago. But I really struggle with, I guess, the opposite, because I'm like, especially with blues, because they're so sensitive and they want to go so slow, and knowing the colors and then knowing the colors of my team, I still struggle with this. So how do you guys, for those of you that are red, how do y'all, I guess, get over yourself and step up and kind of, let some of those stronger qualities go so that you can focus on that person and really give them what they need?
Great question. What do you think, coaches? Julia, what do you think?
This is maybe like kind of like an auto response, but I was just looking at the PDF that came for me when I got the full pie chart. and it really breaks down, like, let me see where it is. But I think it, like I was talking about, it breaks down each color, but then it says, okay, as a red, like if you're a red, it says, as a red, here's how to deal with a white. And I wonder if digging into that, I know that's kind of like, it's there, but I mean, let me find where it is.
So it actually is on the website then?
Yeah, so when you do the bigger test, when you use that Beachbody Coach code, it gives you a whole piece. It's like 42 pages. I'm just scrolling through it. Let me find where it where it says. So it says, okay, like for me, yellow is sparkle and shine. In a yellow relationship, there will be abundance of fun, blah, blah, blah. But then it says it breaks down each one. And it's like maybe 3 or 4 paragraphs. It's not crazy, but I wonder if there's some good nuggets in there.
Right. Yeah, for sure. I'll go look at that.
Maybe there's a good, when I was researching all this, I was trying to find I wanted more information than was out there, unfortunately. Like they have a YouTube channel, and they did, the guy who did the book, he has a 10-minute video on each color. And I wonder if that's worth watching, because maybe he one, like, and it's not a very big YouTube page. Like, it's not robust with a ton of information, but what was there was pretty good. And maybe that would be something for the wall. You know, I think the training I learned about this was from Summit last year. It was Tracy Morrow and Leanne Ruff. So maybe like tagging Tracy in a post, and I think that she's really versed in that. And she's a red.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, might be helpful. Just a little
bit. I know I'm not the only one that struggles with these dominant characteristics and just like letting them go.
And that's what's so funny is I told Brittany, like, I'm a yellow, but when I'm mentoring, the red comes out of me. Like, I'm like, hey, let's do this, you know, and it's funny, like, Brittany's mentoring me. I'm like, numbers, I like it. I'm fine with that. Like, it doesn't bother me. So it's interesting, like, even though I'm yellow, that's not what reads in my mentoring. And that can be, that's the thing I was fighting the hardest. And I think that's why I struggled with so many coaches, was the red was dominant and it was too much.
Too dominant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. I love this stuff. Thank you.
Julia, what have you found now? I mean, now that because you kind of had this light bulb go off a couple weeks ago about this. So now how have you turned that into, you know, your coaching and your mentoring of your coaches? How has it worked?
I don't know yet. I'm still figuring it out. And I think even just the knowledge of knowing, like, a few people I'm working with one-on-one are blues. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, or even like, I think last week I have this great coach, Ron. He's pushing for diamond. He's such a pumpkin. He's so cute. And he was at 4 Success Club points. He had 2 new coaches. I'm like, hey, let's get I think it was like the yellow. I'm like, let's get your points. And he's like, will you do me a favor and not remind me? I'm so well aware of it. And I was like, oh crap. And even though I knew that, I went back into it because I was like, I tried to make it fun, but it wasn't fun for him. So I'm still flopping a lot. And I'm just trying to be honest with them. And when we all know about this, we can talk about it. And I was like, crap. Like, I called him. I'm like, shit, I'm so sorry. My red came out and I was being too much. And he's like, I love you. It's all good. I know. I'm like, I know you know. So I'm sorry that I reminded of you, you know? So I don't know yet. I'm just trying to be open and be like, I'm failing at this, but I'm trying to respect where you're at. And I think they respect that too, because they know I'm not perfect either. And so I'll keep you tuned in on what happens.
Once again, it's like one of the very first programs we've ever done, right? You don't master it the first time. You just keep on learning and keep on learning and keep on learning. But you're right. If you take it to your team and then you can say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, and redirect it and see how, you know, go from there, your coaches will absolutely respect that and encourage it. So, wow, very cool. Any other comments?
I'll add something to that also. My secondary color is red, but if your primary color is red, what you could do is you're naturally going to want to tell people what they need to do and when they need to get it done. You can still do that, but just spin it the way they like it. So for me, like with Brittany, I am majority yellow. I like numbers too because I am red, but she'll give me the numbers and then it's like, I want to hear that. Yeah. Let's do that. We can do that. Let's get that done. You know what I mean? Because I want to I love the excitement of it, you know, not just like, okay, this is what we need to do and we're going to do it. Like she kind of spins it to the way, and I don't know if she knew my personality before that, but she spins it the way where I would respond to it. So if you have, you know, a blue and you could say, or a white, and you could say, look, you have 4 Success Club points, and I just know you can do this. I know you have it in you. And, you know, just spin it to where their personality would respond to it. So you're still getting what you feel, the leadership from you, coming from you, but they're getting what they need to.
Love it. So true. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments? This was awesome. I'm sure you learned so much by putting this together, Julia.
I did. It was really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like I said, again, please, will you, Julia, actually go in underneath your PicMonkey that I created for the advertising for this call? Just put in the website and then the code so we can all go in and do that. And then I'll create a post today. I'll post it. And you guys just start telling me what your colors are, because it'll be fun also for me to, be there to help you with your goals, because I am more red. And sometimes I do come off very matter of fact and direct because it's more business. But outside of it, I am fun, I promise. So with that being said, I would love to know what your colors are so I can kind of, see how I can direct my message to really, truly help inspire, lead, and guide you to success. Okay. Any last things? I loved this call. This was awesome.
Can we talk about assistant stuff? I can't remember who was on that thread.
Yeah.
I took the plunge. I interviewed some people, and I don't know. I don't know I don't quite know what to do, but it just felt good putting it out there to ask for some help. So if anyone has an assistant, like I know we kind of shared like a list of tasks and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just wanted to start a combo. I'm just intrigued.
Is there anybody? Do any of you have assistants?
Julie, can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I am feeling the same way. Like, I keep saying that I want to get an assistant, but I have no idea what to give them. Like, like my coach is Leslie Portis, so she's like, get a local assistant, and that person can run to the post office for you and can do frank advancement recognition pictures and all that stuff. But honestly, I really like doing that stuff. Like, I like to be able to make it all cute and pretty and put it out there for them and things like that. So then I'm like, well, I don't know. And then some people were like, oh, my assistant does all of the recruiting. And I'm like, then what do you do? I'm confused. Like, what? Like, I don't know what to do. And so I haven't done anything. So I'm like, maybe I'm not busy enough for an assistant yet. And so that's why I'm okay with doing everything right now. So I don't know. I'm kind of like the same. I don't know what to do yet with an assistant.
I can chime in on that. Oh, go ahead. Oh, I followed actually Leslie's advice last year, and she gave me a whole list, and I actually posted in a garage sale group. I got an amazing person. I checked her references. She sat in my office. 2 weeks later, she became a coach, and now she's my top producer. So ever since then, and I made her quit as my assistant because it was crazy. Because she lost she didn't take any ownership in my business. So I was like, you need to quit. You need to focus on your business. But I'm like you, Rachel. I like to do those things. And I'll tell you what, when I did have an assistant, I got really lazy. So I'm terrified to go back to that because my business, my social, all the social media stuff. I've listened to other people talk about it where they used to have people doing their social media, but they realized that that's not, they need to be doing that. So things like your banner, but I'm like you too. Like, it never comes out the way I want it to, but I will say delegating, like I have a does my laundry and straightens the house. And I've had her since before I quit my job, and I still have her 3 years later. And, house cleaners and things like that, where things are delegated, where I don't have to worry about it. And I think that still qualifies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my head,
Maybe
it does.
that's what I want then. Maybe I just need a house cleaner instead of
But that being
the
said,
fun
though,
stuff of my business.
it still feels overwhelming. You still have to be efficient. But at the same time, when I was working full time, I was the most efficient I had. It was like I had to get this done. Now I have all this time in the world where I could literally work all day. We talked about the time management. I could literally work all day, and that's what drives me nuts. So you can fit it in. I don't know, in my opinion. It's the laundry and the other stuff that I can't stand.
Yeah.
It's true. You could go either direction on this. I will say, obviously reading Chalene Johnson Push, that will help you to delegate what you don't want to do. Clean your house, your laundry. It could even be food prep. It could be really any of those things that allow you to work towards your goals of furthering your biggest vision. And so, yes, I absolutely agree with you, Anna. I also have many coaches that have assistants that just keep up on like the pick monkey stuff and the stuff that takes so much time, you know, that you could actually be directing your time to recruiting. I would never, ever, ever say you take away from recruiting the 80% of what you should be doing, because that allows you to create your brand and really, you know, find the cream of the crop of coaches. And so I would definitely say, as far as those, like, not minute, but the things that take so long to do, the pick monkeys, the constant, you know, recognition, those things, going to the post office, if it's something that you don't love to do, honestly, just delegate it so you can move on to what you want to do to grow your business.
And I think that's where I'm at, because I don't want someone to do my social media. I love doing that, and I want that to feel like that's me posting. Like, I don't, but it's like the other day I did like a top producer little post, like I'm like, let's look at PV, and it took me like 15 minutes to pull the reports and do that. And so, and for me, I've lately put, when I get so going in my business, I don't stop. Like, I just can't, I don't have kids. Like, I can just keep going, and my health has taken the back burner. And I know that, like, I have to have balance, but I can't not get what I need to get done. So for me, it's coming from a place of like, I need to enjoy my life. Like, I worked hard to not have a job, and now I'm just stuck in my office all day. I'm doing it to myself. So how can I find someone who can just do a few things, and then I keep the things I really love, like social media, and I love making pictures. But if it takes me an hour to make a Success Club picture for my team, like, that's probably not the best use of my time. That doesn't produce me income, you know? So, and I'm still torn about it, because I don't know if I want to spend the money, but there's an itch in me that's like, I gotta have balance, because I'm just stressed out, and it's not good for my, like, I'm a health coach, and here I am, like, letting my health just like go down the tanker, you know?
Well, and if you do it now, I just met with a coach who is 11 to 13 star diamond. I can't remember what she just advanced to, but she has never had an assistant, which is great. But now she's like, Brittany, I'm very overwhelmed. So if you start now and you start to see those things, you know, and it could be as minimal as 10 hours a week or whatever it is, but then you can delegate more as you advance your business as well. So do what's best for you. Every business is going to be so different, so unique, but just kind of write down everything. I mean, I love the document that you put in there. I also have another great list that Breezy Bitter, who actually put together she has 2 assistants, and they, you know, work part-time on both, and she does what she delegates out. And I think it's so incredible. So start writing down the things that you like to do and that you must do, and the things that you don't necessarily, and see how you can kind of balance that, and see where you would add in an assistant if you wanted to.
That's a good idea. Will you post that too if you have that, Britt?
Yeah, I sure will.
I'm nervous about giving up my personal information. And I know that I'm not the only one. I know that's a lot of people.
Double password protect, like the EFT and maybe the commission, so people weren't seeing all our money. Yeah.
Right. So I don't want that to be shout. I mean, I'm very private about that.
Well, it's your money. Someone could change, you know, if you didn't know who they were. Like, the people I all talked to were like friends or like other coaches. So I was like, I wasn't worried about that. And I don't really care if they see how much money I make, because I'm not, like, I don't need to hide that. But it was the EFT. I'm like, that would be a really great, like, if that were double or triple password protected, just.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy. You just log in with your Beachbody password, and there's your bank account, you know?
Right. Absolutely. So there's going to be certain things that you can delegate, but you could also pull the reports and then just say, here you go. You know,
That's
so
true.
ways you can never, because I wouldn't feel comfortable giving that stuff away either. I would just say,
That's
pull
true.
it up and
You could just do a PDF and send it. That's a good point. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Any last comments? What a great call, Julia. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know that took a lot of time, but I think absolutely, just like you are trying to dive in to get, you know, to really help your coaches, you're going to learn leaps and bounds because you just did all that time researching exactly what it is. So I think that's so cool. I think it's so interesting too that you track polar opposite of you.
I know, it's not weird. I have all these like really sensitive blues. I'm like, what do I do with you guys?
It's so true, so true. So awesome. Well, I will post that, but please, if you will go in and just post the website and then also that Beachbody code, and that way we can all get started on it. But thank you so much. That was great.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.